What's up guys, welcome to another video. Now hopefully today is going to be the first episode in a little mini series we're planning. The idea is to be checking out a few different paddleboarding spots around Norfolk because there's some really awesome ones here, and doing a little video on each one. Hopefully I get around to making some more, we'll see how we go. Anyway, today nowhere better to start it off than in Norwich city centre here on the river Wensum. We've got some awesome stuff to check out on the river today. There's some really cool little historical bits, some awesome bridges we get to go under. Hopefully might even see a few little bits of wildlife out there as well. So let's jump on the board and get on with it. So our adventure today starts off at the Cow Tower. Now this is a really good spot to launch from. Also starting things off on a high because this is one of my favourite things to see along the river Wensum here. The Cow Tower is a 17th century artillery tower. It was built as part of the old city wall of Norwich, and it's a really cool point of historical interest. You can get right up nice and close to it on the river. You get a really great view of it. I love coming out on the water and taking a look at it. I think it's mad thinking this thing has just been sat on the water's edge here for hundreds of years. Really cool thing to see to start the day off with. We then began to head upriver from here, heading towards our first bridge of the day. As we did so, we were met by this little family of Egyptian geese, one of my favourite birds to see out on the water. Our first bridge of the day here, also the most modern one we're going to go onto today. Not the most exciting, but still one to take note of. This is the Jared Bridge. Most people will know this as the Wobbly Bridge though, and anyone who has walked over it will know why. It does give you a little bit of a scare the first time you go over it, and in all honesty, probably a little more interesting to walk over than paddle under this one. Not too much to see, but we headed on under and continued our journey, going on upriver past these really cool willow trees here. You see loads of these really lovely willow trees the whole way along the river here as we head up and around the corner towards Whitefriars Bridge. A slightly cooler bridge we have here, lovely grey stone design to it, and I don't know what it is about floating under these bridges on the river, but I just think there's something so cool about it. I think maybe I was some kind of troll in a past life. I just love hanging out under these bridges. And as we come out on the other side, we have our first little bit of entertainment for the day. We had some poor guy go flying off his board under this willow tree here. He did jump right back on it and then managed to fall off again about 20 seconds later, but he seemed in pretty good spirit, so we left him to it. I really love this stretch of river along the quayside here. There's some beautiful architecture. I love all the different colours of the houses you see. And as you come up the river, you get to Fye Bridge here. This is the bridge that Magdalen Street connects to, so there's a lot of traffic, a lot of footfall over the bridge here, and if you fancy stopping for a drink on your journey, you've got a couple of pubs to choose from here. On one side of the bridge we have the Ribs of Beef, and on the other we have got the Mischief. You can also rent paddle boards, and I think maybe kayaks, from Pub and Paddle here, so this can be a cool spot to start off your day from. Next up we have a really cool bridge here. This is St Miles Bridge. Now this one is just a footbridge, so it's a pretty narrow one, not too much foot traffic going over top. There was actually someone busking as we came through, which was really cool. As you can see from my head cam here, this one was constructed in 1804. A really cool piece of architecture to see. Something that's really cool to look out for here is this little plaque. As you can see, it says the water level rose to this height in November 1873. Now, as you see from this shot here, we've got the plaque up here and the current water level here. So it looks like something pretty mad was happening back in November of 1873. Now, although it may just look like a lot of abandoned, derelict old buildings up this way, there is an absolute gem to look out for, and that is the old electricity factory. Now, in 2006, an artist named Rory Macbeth wrote the entirety of the book Utopia on this building. There's basically a word written on every single brick. It goes across the windows, around the side. It is really a sight to see, and you get a great look from the river. Pretty much the only way you can really see it now. So absolutely worth checking out. A really cool piece of modern art here. Then once we'd reached this point, we decided to spin it around and start heading back the way we'd came. There's loads of cool stuff to check out on the other side of the river from where we'd launched. So we flew back, passed through all those cool bridges, all those sites, back past the amazing Cow Tower to continue with the rest of our adventure. As we headed through the willow trees here, we were met by a little family of swans. I was a little cautious because they had some cygnets with them, and earlier that day we had seen a canoe attacked, so we tried to keep the distance as we came through here up to the Red Lion pub, where we took a little bit of a refreshment break. As you can see here, the Red Lion is a super popular paddleboard spot, really great to launch from, and you can actually rent paddles here from Norfolk Paddle. We decided to dock up on this bench here. We set the kit down and grabbed a quick pint for a bit of refreshment before getting back out on the river. We now come to my favourite bridge on the whole of the River Wensum, also happens to be the oldest. This is of course Bishopsgate Bridge. This bridge was first built in the 13th century, which is absolutely insane to think it's been here for all those years. All those people who've gone under here in the past. You really get a good glimpse at the elation on my face here as I float under that bad boy. Really cool bridge. We then came down a long riverside road, loads of boats docked up here. You can see a lot of them had their boards ready, love to see it. I have no idea what this house is along here, but it's absolutely amazing. As far as I'm aware, it is just a private home that people live in, but it is super cool to go past, practically like a castle. We then came past the Angler pub right near the train station here, under this bridge, another spot you can grab paddleboards from to launch here. And as we headed through this flock of swans, things get a little bit more boring. Not much of the history around here, but we do come down past the Sacred Church of Wetherspoons. I'd already had my pint, so we didn't stop in here, but this is a potential spot for the future. Something that I was not expecting to see under this bridge was this heron here. I managed to get super close to him. I knew he wanted to fly away, so I kept the camera on him, and eventually he went for it. Off he goes, off to catch some fish. Some of the buildings you see along here do have a bit of a Netflix true crime vibe to them, but it's all just part of the character. Still some cool sights to see. And as we got to our final bridge of the day here, I decided to sit and wait on this little iron pole. It was a mistake because I got pigeon poo all over my shorts, but we had a little rest whilst this boat went past, and then we decided to spin around and head back to the start. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching today. That wraps things up. Hope you've enjoyed all these cool spots we've had to check out here on the River Wensum. Like I say, hopefully planning a few more of these videos. There's loads of cool spots to check out around Norfolk. Really love to get out and check some more of those out. So if you do want to see more, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully we've got a few more bits coming up. Otherwise, bye for now everyone.